What's up, guys? Welcome back to El Merengue Culé. Today I got the Real Madrid versus Real Valladolid pre-game analysis as well as some betting tips. It's going to be a good game, Mbappe's first game in El Bernabeu, so lots of expectations. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, so like I was mentioning, this is the first game that Real Madrid will be playing in El Bernabeu this season, match day 2 for La Liga, and we're coming off that 1-1 draw to Mallorca in their stadium, which obviously came with a lot of controversy. You know, it's a game that Madrid almost felt like they had in their hands, but they did not play great, especially with Vini, Mbappe, and Rodrigo up top. Over the course of the week, there was a lot of criticism with showing pictures and screenshots of the actual game that Mbappe was playing too far in the left wing. Rodrigo would also kind of come in towards the center. And overall, all the three players up front were just crowding each other. So coming into this game, it leaves a little bit of a question as to how well are the front three going to gel. And this is what we were expecting out of the season, right? How well all three can cohese together and have a solid balance up front. Will Mbappe's ego win? Will Vini's ego win? And it has to be beyond that, right? I think all players have to understand that they're all really, really, really good, and they have to find a way to play with each other and not get frustrated. So all eyes are on the three of them. But sadly, the one player that we will be missing for this game is Jude Bellingham, which in my opinion, and let me know down below in the comments what you think about this, but in my opinion, out of the first two games, official games that Real Madrid has played this season, Jude Bellingham was the best. In the final against Atalanta, he got man of the match, and against Mallorca, I also felt like he had a phenomenal display out there. So it's definitely going to be it's going to be a big loss to not have him in this game. He obviously helps Madrid transition a lot from the midfield to the offense with all his creativity, his physical attributes, and his good passing. So big loss for Madrid in that department, as well as on the defense. Mendy, if you guys remember from the game against Mallorca, ended up getting that tackle and red card in the literal last play of the game, which definitely puts Madrid's lineup a little bit different. I think overall it's going to be the same to the Mallorca one, with the changes being Fran going in at left back, and then lots of talk about Modric replacing Jude Bellingham as a center attacking mid in the midfield, which I'm not against. We all know that Modric cannot play a full 90 minutes, but he definitely brings a lot of calm to that midfield, a lot of thinking, and also some creativity that we would be lacking without Jude. So it's not a bad replacement. And I would expect us, and I hope that we get to see a little bit more of Arda Güler. I think we all agreed he had a really, really, really good preseason, and we are wanting to see a little more of him. So hopefully early in that second half, Arda Güler will be coming on, which takes me to another of the criticisms that Ancelotti had after that game against Mallorca, which was how late he made his subs. Yeah, he brought in Luka Modric minute like 60-ish, which was good. But then the remaining subs, he brought in Arda Güler, I don't know, a few others, I can't remember, but they all came in minute like 87 when we were already scrambling to get that goal to win the game, and it was just a bit of a mess. So that is one thing that we ask of Ancelotti, to make his subs earlier. You can actually see that in the live reaction game against Mallorca. I'm asking for Ancelotti to make subs, and it's still minute like 70, and I'm like, come on, we need to obviously switch it up. So those are the question marks that Real Madrid has coming into this game. But obviously, they're going to be playing at home. They still have Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, Rodrigo, Valverde, Tchouaméni. Like, obviously, they are still such a dominant team coming up against a Real Valladolid team that is newly promoted from the second division. Ronaldo Nazario is actually the owner and the president of this club. A newly promoted team is always a very tricky game, because a lot of people expect them to just suck out there and not be able to compete, being that they were just in second division. But that is, through my history of watching this sport, that is just very rarely the story, Valladolid has actually made a lot of good signings for this season, two of them being Real Madrid's Castilla's players. Mario Martin, who we praised a lot in preseason, played every single minute in preseason with us, and then right before the start of the season, he made the switch to Valladolid. So I'm curious to see if he's going to be starting or even playing against Madrid tomorrow. I think it'd be someone that we want to keep an eye out on. And then also Juanmi Latasa, our Castilla striker that just made the switch to Valladolid. So they're going to have 2 of our Castilla players, along with a lot of other signings that they had. This guy, Raúl Moro, he scored a goal against Espanyol in their first game of the season. That Valladolid ended up winning 1-0. So Valladolid are coming into this game higher than us in the league, in the table. So that is also something that we wanna remember. So let's go ahead and move on to the final part of the video, which is the betting tips. Here I have them written out so I can make sure I refer to them correctly, and they should be right up here in the video. Madrid is at a -600 for the money line. I mean, with that kind of odds, you cannot just bet for the Madrid to win, because you'd be having to bet $60, for example, and you only make $10 out of that. It's out of the question. It's way too risky, even though it's the likely outcome, right? On the other hand, Valladolid is at positive 1,500, meaning you put $100 into Valladolid winning and you're making $1,500. I mean, it's just crazy, obviously, but I don't expect Valladolid to win. I think it would be the biggest upset for such a thing to happen. So we can essentially discard those 2. The draw is a little interesting at positive 770. Obviously, still a really good return, but I mean, look, can you rule out a draw? Of course not. In this sport, you can never rule anything out. Is a draw going to happen? I would be so shocked if Madrid drew both of their first 2 games and one of those was against Valladolid at home. I mean, it would be a disaster. Which is where we can move on into the actual spread. And the spread, as you can see here on the table, has Madrid winning by more than 2 goals. I mean, that puts Madrid as heavy favorites. Can it happen? Of course it can happen. I mean, if Vini, Mbappe, and Rodrigo are having an informed game, then I don't see any problem with that happening. But is it risky? I think it's a little too risky, especially with its return being at -123. Like, you know, if you're betting on Madrid winning by 3 or more, I need to be seeing at least a positive return on that. So I'm not too happy with it. And then when I look at the goals, Madrid has to score there has to be an over 3.5 goals in this game for that to hit. Meaning, you know, Madrid has to win by 4, or Madrid has to win 4-0. It has to be a 3-1, which is not crazy, but also, I don't know, with Madrid's attack, the way we were talking about, you know, Vini and Mbappe kind of struggling to find that chemistry together right now, it's a little bit up in the air. So I'm just kind of showing you where I have all my question marks. And then if you want to bet individually for Madrid to score over 2.5 goals, and that's -140 return, that one I expect to happen, but the return isn't amazing. So here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be putting 2 different parlays. The first one is going to be Madrid winning, which we know is at -600. I'm going to be putting that as a parlay with an over 2.5 goals in the whole game. So I think that's very doable. When I was just saying that it was doable for Madrid to score over 2.5 themselves, overall, I think in the game there should be more than 2.5 goals. And then the last one is that both teams will not score in the first half. So that is a 3-way parlay for those things, and that puts us at a more of a 1-to-1 return. I'm going to be putting $15 in for that one. And then my other parlay will be also a Madrid win, Mbappe to score a goal. Come on, who doesn't want to see Mbappe score a goal on his debut game in El Bernabeu? We want to bet on that. Let's just see if it happens. Come on, Mbappe, don't let us down. And then also that there will be less than 2.5 goals in the first half, okay, in the first half. So that would mean, all I'm saying is that Madrid is not going to be up 3-0 in the first half or 2-1. You know, I think it's more rare to see those things. Not impossible, but it's more rare. And that's also a little bit over a 1-to-1 return. Those are my two parlays. They're tricky ones. You know, the more you start parlaying things together, you start running into potential problems of one of them not happening and then losing the whole bet. So it's definitely there's risk in here, but there is some decent return. Let me know what you think down below in the comments about these betting parlays. Let me know what you think overall about the pregame analysis. Do you think Vini and Mbappe will start gelling a little bit more together? Will Real Madrid be really affected by Jude Bellingham not being there? And overall, what you think the score could potentially be. With that being said, guys, make sure you hit the like button, turn on your notification bell. We will have that live reaction coming up tomorrow. A little bit of a different background for today, but tomorrow we'll be back in the studio. And as always, a la Madrid.